everyone. It's Josh Gigan here with the Space Down Under live, and I've got to remember not to start hitting the pop filter. That's probably a really good idea. So good evening, welcome. It's evening here in Australia, wherever you're tuning in from. Welcome to the Space Down Under live, where I'll be streaming this very special edition about flying on Mars, which is the ultimate in autonomous flight. So welcome, thanks very much for stopping by, and get settled in to actually start watching here. So let me just tell you that I'm Josh Keegan, and this is the Space Down Under, and this is the live version of it. The Southern Hemisphere has a very active and ever-evolving space industry, and I'm here to chat with those people who work tirelessly behind the scenes to make space aspirations possible for everyone. So the Space Down Under Live is all about that. Just remember, guys, there will be a Q&A session at the end of this, and the questions and answers can be asked during the live stream. So all you need to do is go to the chat window over here and actually ask your questions. So don't forget to include where you're watching from, introduce yourself, don't forget to say hi to others, because this is social media, believe it or not, and I'm here to listen to some of your questions, hear your feedback, and understand what questions you actually have about flying autonomously on Mars. So just keep in mind, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to give it a bit of a like as well. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. The Space Down Under is also on Facebook, and there is a Reddit subreddit as well. So yeah, pretty much the Space Down Under is everywhere at this point. All right, so let's unpack this all. So we'll get right into it straight away. We're not going to waste any time. So this is all about flying on Mars. It's the ultimate in autonomous flight. And what this is all about is, hang on, sorry, I've just got several things going on at once here. So I've got several screens. Sorry, just quick confession before we get started. Yeah, I almost didn't make it. I had to reboot the entire computer. So that's a little bit of interesting trivia for you. All right, so I'm going to be talking about the autonomous flying on Mars. So we'll dig right into it. So I actually gave this talk a little while ago, and that was to the Spacefaring Civilization films, and that was on the 24th of April. And what I did was I actually gave that to their members, and this was a very interesting talk and discussion in regard to how autonomous drones, the helicopter drone, flies on Mars. So I'm just flicking screens here while I'm doing all this. So there's several things going on at once. As you can see, I'm not a polished professional as yet. I'm still getting there. I'm still trying to get all this down pat. So just to give you guys an idea, I do actually have a bit of knowledge about drones and the drone industry, so especially here in Australia. So around about a couple of years ago, I actually started a thing called the World Drone Challenge, and that was a startup event. And the whole idea of that was actually, and I led it for around about 2.5 years. The whole idea of the World Drone Challenge was actually to start up a unique challenge in autonomous flight, to actually let drones fly over some 50 plus nautical miles from a regional city here in Queensland called Toowoomba all the way into Brisbane City. It was actually to challenge all aspects of capacity, endurance, and autonomy. During the 2.5 years that I actually run that, I met some of the most interesting people in the industry, learning all about the limitations of the technology, and that's how I came to know about the drone industry. In the end, as it turns out, as all things happen, the World Drone Challenge didn't work out, and I had to find something else. And in the end, I launched my own website under joshkeegan.com, which you guys all know. And then I actually got to focus on my passions, which is drones, aerospace technology, and of course, coffee. And ultimately, this is how the Space Down Under was born. So, and that's exactly how that all happened there. Just for a little bit of background.
We are starting to straighten up and
just before we get into that, so I love space and I love drones. And on the 18th of February of this year, the Mars 2020 mission began its descent to the red planet. So what I'm about to show you is the images taken as the Perseverance rover descends from the surface of Mars. This video has been synced with the audio from the control room, as the video was not in real time due to the distances involved, and it gives more of a real-time view of the events as they happened. Whoops. Not working.
We are starting the straighten up and fly right maneuver, where the spacecraft will jettison the entry balance masses in preparation for parachute deploy and to roll over to give the radar a better look at the ground.
Indicate chute deploy.
The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed, and we are seeing significant deceleration in the velocity. Our current velocity is 440 meters per second at an altitude of about 12 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Heat shield set.
Perseverance has now slowed to subsonic speeds, and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface. Current velocity is 145 meters per second at an altitude of about 9.5 kilometers above the surface.
Nav filter converge. Velocity solution 3.3 meters per second. Altitude 7.4 kilometers.
Now has radar lock on the ground. Current velocity is about 100 meters per second, 6.6 kilometers above the surface of Mars. Perseverance is continuing to descend on the parachute. We are coming up on the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the priming of the landing engines. Our current velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers.
LVS valid.
We have confirmation that the lander vision system has produced a valid solution and part of terrain relative navigation.
Priming. TBA is nominal.
We have priming of the landing engines.
Back shell set.
Current velocity is 83 meters per second at about 2.6 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have confirmation that the back shell has separated. We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second at an altitude of about a kilometer off the surface of Mars.
TRN safety Bravo.
We have completed our terrain relative navigation. Current speed is about 30 meters per second, altitude of about 300 meters off the surface of Mars. We have started our constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane, about to conduct the sky crane maneuver. Sky crane maneuver has started, about 20 meters off the surface.
We're getting signals from MRO. Tango Delta.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the signs of past life.
I don't know about anybody else, but that video always gives me a severe amount of chills every time I see it. It just blows my mind that those were real images. They weren't actually computer simulations or anything like that. It was all real. It was all done. And only recently too, and it was a fabulous engineering achievement, and it just absolutely blows my mind. So the mission for Mars 2020 rover is to seek signs of ancient life and collect samples of rock and regolith for a possible return mission from Earth from the Jezero crater. So that's a really unique thing that the Mars 2020 mission is going to do. Now let me just give you some stats about the Perseverance rover. Now, this is not exactly a small thing, and you kind of forget that when you see the images online or you see them anywhere else, or you may see them on TV or wherever you manage to get them. What you find is that this thing is huge. Sorry, and that's no other way to say it. This thing is massive. So it weighs 1,025 kilos, so it's just over a metric ton, or it is a metric ton. At 2,260 pounds. It is 3 meters in length, or 10 feet, 2.7 meters wide, or 9 feet, and 2.2 meters high, so 7 feet tall. So that's actually taller than myself. And the picture there is Richard Reber of the JPL Flight Systems engineer, and it pretty much dwarfs him right there in the background. And it's like this has been landed by a sky crane, a rocket sky crane, and is now sitting on the surface of Mars. Now, this is where it actually gets interesting as we go to the next slide. Sorry, no, yeah, the next image. The mission for 2020 mission of Mars for 2020 is to seek signs of ancient life and collect samples of rock and regolith for a possible return to Earth. Underneath the belly of the rover, it contains a first for NASA and JPL, a drone. The Ingenuity drone, where are we? I'll just click through. It was held underneath the rover during the descent with a unique locking mechanism that was able to be not only hold the drone in position, but was then able to deploy it to the Martian surface. So on the 3rd of April, Ingenuity was deployed, and the Perseverance rover moved away to a safe distance around about 60 meters, or to around about 200 odd feet. So when we're talking about the Ingenuity helicopter drone, here's some interesting statistics about this drone. So it's only 1.8 kilos in weight, and it's around about 0.68 or 680 grams on Mars. The blade span is around 1.2 meters. That's 3.9 feet. So they're quite long blades, and they spin at around about 2,573 RPM. The altitude is maximum altitude is around about 5 meters or 16.4 feet, and the range is only around about 300 meters or 984 feet. So it's not exactly extraordinary range. And then we're looking at a flight duration of around about 90 odd seconds. So just comparing that to a DJI Mavic Pro 2, this is just a common drone you'll find pretty much anywhere in DJI's product line. It weighs around about 907 grams. The blades spin at around about 960 RPM. It's able to achieve an altitude of 6,000 meters or 6 kilometers, around about 19,685 feet. It has a range, massive range of 18 kilometers. That's 11.18 miles. And it has a flight duration of around 31 minutes. So quite significantly, the Ingenuity helicopter drone is actually a little bit smaller and a little bit lighter. So coming back to it, if we have a look at the individual components on the Ingenuity rover, drone helicopter rover, we look at the blades. The blades are actually made of carbon fiber foam core to provide lift in the thin Martian atmosphere. Then it's got batteries to help power the helicopter rover. Legs are ultra lightweight and made of carbon fiber tubes to help land it after flight. It's got a solar panel on the top of it that helps keep the battery nice and charged. Radio antennas to talk to Earth via the Mars 2020 rover and the Mars orbiter. And then we come to the interesting part. The avionics, or its brains, the helicopter function and help the helicopter function and navigate. So everything is actually inbuilt into that little body structure there. The body has insulation heaters to keep it sensitive electronics warm and survive the cold Martian nights. Now, the important part is the avionics in the body have been teamed up with sensors and cameras, much the same way as a DJI drone. The sensors help to collect data on how fast the helicopter is traveling and in which direction, and the cameras help the helicopter to see where it's going and where it's height over the ground. Now, just by comparison between Earth and Mars, we're talking about a completely different set of circumstances, including the atmosphere. So we're looking at around about 101,325 pascals. So we're looking at about 14.6959 psi. Mars, by comparison, is not even a percentage of that. It's 610 pascals. So we're only talking about 0.88 psi. Now, we look at the planet Earth and we're looking at an average temperature of around about 25 degrees anywhere on the planet at any one time to around about 45 degrees Celsius. I mean, look, yes, that does change. Depends on where you are, yes. Which is minus 13 degrees Fahrenheit to a massive 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if we flick over to Mars and look at the daytime temperature over there, we're looking at 20 degrees Celsius as a warmest temperature, or around about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Where overnight temperature is minus 73 degrees Celsius, or minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So when we're talking about this thing, the differences between Earth and Mars, we're talking about massive, massive differences between the two planets, which makes the Ingenuity helicopter drone a very unique piece of technology. So gravity here is around about 9.07 meters a second squared, whereas the gravity is completely different on Mars at 3.0 721 meters a second squared. So we're talking about a completely different gravity mix. We're also talking about a completely different composition of the atmosphere in its entirety. As you can see, the Earth atmosphere is made up of a very, very diverse mix of individual gases that eventually go all the way down to water vapor. By comparison, there's not much to Mars. At all. And we look at that and we look at then carbon dioxide, it makes up about 95% of the atmosphere. And then we're looking at around about nitrogen, which is around about 2.8%, and argon, which is sitting at around 2%, which is significantly higher than what it is on Earth. Then we get to carbon monoxide and then the very minimal water vapor. So the reason why this is all important, the reason why I'm explaining this, is simply because the distance to Mars now, as of this evening, or as of right now during this live stream, is around about 291,577,490,000 kilometers, or around about 181,177,853 miles. So when we're talking about that Ingenuity helicopter drone, we're talking about it launched on the 30th of July 2020, hence the Mars 2020 rover mission. It arrived on the 18th of February 2021. It cruised for approximately 7 months, and the average temperature during that cruise phase was minus 270.45 degrees Celsius or minus 454.81 degrees Fahrenheit. That's extreme. So it managed to travel a total distance of 470,776,457 kilometers, or around about 292.5 million miles in between Earth and Mars. And it sat in space at those temperatures for 7 months. So it had to keep nice and warm. And this is what makes the rover really, really quite extraordinary. So when we're talking about the Martian rover, on Earth, with a DJI Mavic Pro drone or any other drone, yes, they can work without Wi-Fi and whatever else, but the atmospheric conditions are much, much different. We're talking about when the Ingenuity rover has to exist on Mars by itself, all alone, and do everything autonomously. And the reason why it makes the ultimate in autonomous flight is because of the distance between us and the actual Ingenuity helicopter drone. We're talking a communication time of 16 minutes to Mars and another 16 minutes back to Earth. So that's a 32-minute round trip before anybody can intervene with any sort of instructions. So what they have to do is they actually have to program everything, and then what they do is they have to send it all the way to Mars, and then they have to wait until 32 minutes until they get the results of that. So the communication path, in case anything goes wrong, is it goes from the Ingenuity helicopter drone all the way to the Perseverance rover, from the Perseverance rover to the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, which sits above Mars and has been there for a few years now, and then it comes all the way back down to Earth into the Deep Space Network, and then before it actually travels around the other side of the planet all the way to JPL and NASA. So that's an extraordinary distance. So by the time something goes wrong, it's already too late. So this is why it makes it the ultimate in autonomous flight technology. So we're talking about, coming back to this is why this little drone is very, very unique piece of technology. It contained in the avionics and body, the avionics in the body, its brains help the helicopter to function and navigate. Its body has insulation and heaters to keep sensitive electronics warm and survive the cold Martian nights at minus 73 degrees Celsius. So that's quite extraordinary. And then when they actually upload all the information, which goes from Earth, from JPL, all the way down to around to the Deep Space Network, of which the Canberra antenna dishes are some, then it has to go to the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, then all the way to Perseverance rover, and then to the Ingenuity drone. So that's 32 minutes currently as it stands at the moment. And this is the closest approach, not the closest approach, but one of the times that the Mars is actually closer to Earth than further away. So that 32-minute communication round trip will only extend we only come close to Mars once every 2 years through the Holman transfer window. So yeah, this little drone has to survive all by itself and do its own autonomous flight using the avionics in basically the body, which is the size of a tissue box, so not very big at all, and it has to be able to navigate all the way around and actually take its observations. So this is an extraordinary piece of technology. Now, this to me just blows my mind, but this is the part that actually made me really, really lose my stuff, was this here. How did we actually manage to get this? Well, they did some testing. This is a vacuum chamber located at JPL where simulations were done prior to the initial launch of flight. So that vacuum is a vacuum chamber contained at JPL and NASA, and what that is they took out the vacuum out of that to be the same atmospheric pressure as Mars, and I believe they put in the gases as well. And to simulate the Martian gravity, what they did was they hung the drone from a cable. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. Hung the drone from a cable to actually simulate the reduced amount of gravity on Mars. So that's how they managed to simulate there. So that was actually, they did a lot of testing before they actually did their first initial flight. Now, after all the testing and everything that happened, this happened as well. The little Ingenuity helicopter drone decided to test its rotors and to make sure everything was working. And as you can see, even that solar panel has a difficult job because already it's covered with Martian dust already. So could it actually fly, and will it actually fly? And yes, it did. On the 19th of April 2021, something extraordinary happened. The little Ingenuity helicopter drone was far enough away from the Perseverance rover. It started up as rotors and actually did this. There's no audio with this, and I apologize. That's it, flying on Mars. That is a first. That is a very, very historical moment where we actually flew a drone on another planet. Okay, let me just say that again. We flew a drone on another planet. That's not close. That's long, long way away, and we managed to do it. Well, NASA and JPL did, and that's an extraordinary achievement. So this is only recent, and this only happened today, and so I'm going to pause that video right there because this is something that is very, very extraordinary, and I only picked up on this, and this is a last-minute insert into this whole live stream. Is the Perseverance rover actually recorded the fourth flight. So it did its first, and now it's up to its fourth. So it's done a series of tests, and it captured video. Now, only today this was posted, so that's during the day, within the last 7 hours or so, that the video was downloaded, and for the very, very first time, audio was recorded that went along with it. You just have to listen to this. This is just extraordinary. that's it. That's it. You heard audio of a drone. That low rumble is a drone flying on another planet in the Martian atmosphere. That is just stunning. It just blows my mind. It just, I can't even express into words. So that low rumble that you heard in that video that sounded like almost like a train going past your window, a low freight train or something like that, that low rumble was actually the sound of the Ingenuity helicopter drone making noises on another planet in a thin Martian atmosphere that I explained before. So, sorry, this just blows my mind. I can kind of talk, but I kind of can't. So what's next for the Ingenuity drone? So look, it's already completed 4 of its flights. The next one is due very, very soon. I saw, before coming live, I actually saw an update where they're going to be flying the 5th mission today. So right now, within the next 7 or 8 hours, yes, NASA and JPL will be flying the Ingenuity helicopter drone again for the 5th time. Then after that, what does it mean? Well, it will actually mean that it's to be determined. It will embark on a new operation demonstration phase after the technology demonstration phase. It's planned to go further and faster and higher than it ever has done before. And that's what the Ingenuity drone is able to achieve. Now, what's next? Look, what's next? Yeah, this Mars 2020 rover has got quite some big things on it, and the last thing that happened was this little device stored underneath is called MOXIE. And MOXIE actually stands for, let me have a look. Sorry, I forgot what it was called. It's the Mars In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment. And what that does underneath Perseverance rover, it's extracting oxygen from the Martian atmosphere. And it's done it once. It did it on the 24th, and it's done it plenty of times since. So yes, we're able to use in situ resource utilization, and we are able to make sure that we can survive on Mars. And this just kind of, I don't know where I'm lost for words. The types of things that are being done on the Perseverance rover. Look, guys, what I suggest you do is you go to mars.nasa.gov and you /Mars 2020 and see all the extraordinary things that are happening on this particular rover. It is going to be interesting. It is going to be huge, and I just can't help but be absolutely blown away every single time that this is sitting on Mars. Yeah, sorry, I hit my microphone again. I really got to put this thing a bit further away. So yeah, look, it's just yeah. All right. While I'm stuttering and stammering here and trying to get my head around what NASA and JPL are doing on Mars and the Perseverance rover is doing on Mars. Look, please, now's the time for questions and answers. If you want to start saying hi, look, I can see Lonely Interstellar. Yes, my voice echoes. I don't know what happened. That was part of the. Sorry, mate. That was part of the reboot. I actually had to reboot my whole system. 5 minutes before. I was a little bit late coming onto the live stream because the whole thing was able to reboot. And yeah, it's echoing, and I don't know why. And I apologize for that. I kind of thought it would have been fixed. So yeah, look, yeah, and yes. I don't know if you're saying, "Oh my God, so emotional," that I'm so emotional, or whatever. Yes, I am emotional with all this whole thing because it just staggers my mind that, the technology we have here on Earth in terms of DJI drones and all that sort of stuff is easily being replicated now on Mars, and they're doing extraordinary things, and it's just amazing. It just goes amazing. Mark is not here at the moment. He can't join me. If you want to know the answer to that question, Lonely Interstellar, just to let you know, he couldn't attend this one, and he possibly won't be attending a few more. But that's okay. I'm wishing Mark all the very, very best, and hopefully he'll get to join me again soon when he's ready. He's just having one or two issues with. All sorts of stuff, really, mainly technology, I believe. But yeah, look, as soon as Mark comes back, he'll join me live on the Space Down Under live. So for the moment, I'm sorry to disappoint, but it's just me. Look, I'm looking to do some updates on what's happened in the Australian space industry in the first couple of months of this year. So there's another live stream for you to look out for, mate. So just stay tuned for that one. That should be coming out really, really soon. So look, and I apologise again for the echoing sound here. So, and yes, I do remember you, Lonely Distella, from online conversations and comments you made during Mark's live stream. So look, thanks very much for coming along. I really do appreciate you tuning in all the way from India. I'm happy to have you all along, and it's really, really interesting that the what they're doing on Mars at the moment is just extraordinary. And I just tried to link it all together there by my own drone experience that I've had with the World Drone Challenge, which I ran for 2.5 years, and I managed to find out some really interesting things about the drones and the drone industry and what happens over there. Your question is about what are the upcoming plans for Ingenuity? Well, NASA hasn't really released those yet, simply because what's happening is with the Ingenuity rover, it has to go through a series of tests. Flight Test 5 that's happening now, I believe. They're sending instructions. They're getting ready. They made a hop. They're ready to go. That was the latest update I saw on Facebook over there. So, look, the plans are to go further and faster and explore and do a lot more. Just let me point out to you, the last time they had something that was around about the same size or similar size, it was called the Opportunity Rover, and that lasted for 14 years. So, the engineers at NASA really know what they're doing and what they're up to. So that's really, really, it's going to be it's going to be interesting. Look, it's a small solar panel on the top that's covered by a bit of dust. I'm not sure if any of that is blown off. I hope so. But look, we're possibly looking at a 14-year lifespan because the engineers at NASA and JPL do a fantastic job with everything they do, and they just happen to make everything just last pretty much forever. And there's a lot of things they can do technology wise and instruction wise they can then send through to actually extend the life of a rover or a drone, well, in this case a drone. So but just keep in mind though, the Ingenuity helicopter drone can't go too far away from the Perseverance rover, simply because of the communications that as it goes, there is a specific range that it can achieve. So just keep that in mind there as well. So it will go further and faster, but it will never lose sight or go beyond visual line of sight from the Perseverance rover. Is there a possibility Perseverance and Curiosity could possibly meet each other? Ooh, don't know. Not unless there's human intervention. I believe they're thousands of kilometers apart, mate. So they're quite a way away from each other. So look, maybe if there's human intervention, they actually decide to bring one towards the other before bringing them both home sometime in the future, I guess. Then that could potentially be something that could happen as well. At the moment, anything is possible if you look across the pond. We all look to the United States, and we look to Boca Chica in Texas. You'll actually see that Elon has successfully launched and landed the SN-15 Starship, and that I saw that the other day, and I'd love to talk about that, but it's not really the Space Down Under. But I'll talk about it here because I'm live. And with 100 metric ton capacity to low Earth orbit, and then pushing that directly to Mars, 100 to 150, I think it is. Look, anything could be possible. They could possibly bring it back, but they could bring them both back. And the Perseverance rover at the moment is actually designed for a return sample mission. So that hasn't been planned by NASA as far as I'm aware. Oh, and another point, just coming back to the Ingenuity helicopter drone, just to let you know. NASA, I saw something briefly the other day about NASA, and they're talking about maybe using something similar for Titan to actually explore Titan a little bit better via air. So yeah, I that was a proposal. It might be just something they've put out there. I'm not sure where that will go. I'm not even sure if NASA's ready to do it yet. But look, it's just an exciting future at this point. Really, really exciting. So. Oh yes, Starship 15, SF-15 was amazing. It absolutely was, and it's just I saw Everyday Astronaut, and props to Everyday Astronaut for his coverage, and I saw SpaceX's own coverage. So yeah, absolutely extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. It just and he's only just getting started. SpaceX team is only just getting started with these. SN16 is built, and I saw the other day that the SN22 that's been spotted. So. The future is going to be amazing. So yeah, do you have any more questions? Anybody at all in regard to the Perseverance rover or the Ingenuity drone helicopter? Oh, hang on. Sorry, missed a comment. By the way, that happened. The Long March 5B booster. Oh, what happened? Oh. Ooh, don't get me started, mate. Look, the Long March accidentally reached orbit and is now coming back towards Earth. It is due to re-enter the Earth atmosphere on 8th of May. So that's in the next 48 hours. So really, really soon. It's uncontrolled. There is the warning zone at the moment is between New York and New Zealand, which is a really big warning zone, so it can hit anywhere there. Luckily the Earth is around about 70% water, so it should actually break up a lot before impact, and it should impact over water, but it's the last part of the entry into the atmosphere as it gets to the thicker parts of the atmosphere that really changes the overall trajectory from being kind of flat and coming in to all of a sudden dip curving down. So yeah, we don't know how that's going to go. Yes, look, yeah, and I saw a report today that the Space Flight Now, I think it was actually saying that that Washington is very, very aware of it, and they're monitoring it, and China has finally acknowledged, and will say the responsible agency and organization will make a comment as soon as it's appropriate in regard to that the Long March 5B. So yeah, it's coming back in at some point, but again, they have their own International Space Station now, so excellent work for the Chinese. We should all be going together, but however, they've teamed up with Russia, so I don't see that as a problem. And I saw something the other day as well that the European Space Agency is involved with China as well. They're going to be sending up one of their astronauts over there, so that's happening as well. So let's hope that the Chinese, if they want to do it their own way, that they still take international partners, and just if they want to exclude the US and then invite the US in later, yeah, that'd be a nice thing to do, I think. But however, by that stage, the International Space Station might be all commercial. But yeah, there's a very interesting future that we're all going to recognise here. So, all right, look, that's as many questions as I think I'm going to, unless anyone else has any more, I believe. So, look, if you like this video, just keep in mind, guys, look, I apologise again for the echo. Again, it was for rebooting all this. If you liked all this, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to YouTube, and hit that notification bell as well to say that you're going to tune into each of my videos and my live streams and all that sort of stuff, and I'll try and bring them to you with less echo. Anyway, so yeah, I'll try and bring that all to you. Look, don't forget you can pop on over to the Space Down Under on Facebook. There's a first Space Down Under Facebook group now to drop into there. It's kept private for the moment, just so it's a little bit of screening. So there's also a subreddit where you can join in the chat over there, the Space Down Under r/the Space Down Under, and then there's also you can shop all the merchandise and get some cool merchandise as well. This is pretty cool. It's the Aussie t-shirt that I created itself. Created for because that's something that you never see on photos of the Earth. Is one with Australia in it. And look, there's Space Down Under on one sleeve and a rocket on the other. So this is my favourite. So. Don't forget there's also mugs and merchandise and caps and all that sort of stuff there as well. So look, thanks very much for tuning in, especially you, Lonely Interstellar. Thanks, mate, for joining in and having a good chat with me. Look, remember, stay safe. Remember, tune in, give us a like, We'll tune in again next time. But in the meantime, until then, stay caffeinated.